This episode is for the writer who thinks that if they just found the right editor, then they could make sense of their memoir. When creativity gets hard, it sometimes stops being fun. And when that happens, you start wondering if there isn't an easier way to make your memoir happen. Spoiler alert, there is not a shortcut. You do have to do the hard part. But the way that you walk through the hard part, that's where we get to play, and that's what we're diving into today. So let's get into it.
You are listening to the Memoir Method podcast, the place for writers, readers, and anyone who appreciates the collective power of our stories. In this podcast, we explore the impact of memoir alongside an examination of writing techniques and strategies used in the genre. Whether you are a writer looking for inspiration and guidance or a passionate reader seeking meaningful connections through shared experiences, the Memoir Method podcast is your go-to conversation spot. I'm your host, Charlotte, editor, writer, and the heart behind Charlotte Writes. Let's get started.
I think that you know on a conscious level that you cannot shortcut memoir writing. Creativity is really, really hard to shortcut, even in a time of AI, maybe especially in a time of AI with all the AI slam that we see on the internet, but you can't shortcut it. And so I'm not going to waste time reminding you that there really are no shortcuts in this creative process in your memoir writing. You know this, I know this. I do want to talk first why the creative process can feel heavy and hard. We've talked a lot about first draft energy on this podcast. This is the energy that you feel when you start a new document and get all of your ideas out. This is the energy that pulls you through those initial stages of writing. And more than anything, this first draft energy is really, really fun. And when you're having fun, creating is actually really easy. It feels easy. The hard parts don't feel hard. The challenge feels fun. And when you're in this energy, writing can feel almost effortless. However, this first draft energy is not sustainable. That initial burst of energy and passion does fade. And this isn't because writing a memoir was actually a bad idea, or that you are not good at it, or that you shouldn't be doing it. This happens because you're human living a human life, and your writing is a part of your regular life. Your writing life is part of your regular life. I say this all the time. For example, I cannot get into a creative flow. I can't write well. I cannot create well when I am not getting along with my spouse. If my energy is blocked in that way, I have a really, really difficult time creating. Whatever is going on in your regular life will 100% affect your writing life. And that's probably its own episode, its own conversation. But your regular life affects your writing life. And so our regular lives can get messy and complicated. And that lends some messiness and complications to your creative life. So after you expend that initial burst of first draft energy, your writing life has to really sit in intention and conversation with the rest of your life. And the rest of our life doesn't always feel fun. And so we need to kind of learn how to balance that. And that's just, again, its own conversation. But that's why first draft energy can fade. That's why it's not sustainable. When this first draft energy dims, is a couple things can happen. Procrastination starts to creep in. This is when you think, oh, I'll work on it later. I'll work on it tomorrow. This week is really busy. I'll get to it next week. You know what I'm talking about. Those of you who need to be called out are officially called out. Happens to me as well. Another way that you can respond when this first draft energy dims is you try to muscle through it. You try to, okay, I'm going to show up. I promised myself that I would show up. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to force this to happen. And so you can spend hours and hours on your work, but not actually make progress. And this is another way that overwhelm and discouragement can creep in. So you start to meander through your draft. You maybe have 30,000, 40,000 words, but you don't actually know what to do next. And so you just kind of write yourself in circles. This can feel like progress in the moment. You can feel like I promised myself I'd show up and I'm showing up. But what happens is you end up just kind of shuffling around all of this confusion that you have created. First draft energy does not always have what you actually need in the creative process, and I'll get to that. It's really fun and you should capitalize on it. First draft energy also usually requires quite a bit of revision later on. But here's the worst part about this stage of writing. Whether you are a procrastinator or someone who's trying to muscle through and you're miserable, is it stops being fun. I am rarely a writer's first editor, to be honest. I know I've addressed this before. That's not how I planned this business, but most writers come to me after having already tried working with someone else. They've already tried, whether that's like investing thousands of dollars into working one-on-one with another editor or a course, a program. They've tried other things and they come to me needing something different. So we start our work together. I bring them into my process, which isn't always what they expect. I work through memoir and edits much differently from what you've likely experienced before. And at some point, you start to feel this overwhelm. It comes in, it almost like clockwork. I know the point in our work where you're going to start feeling overwhelmed. And I can see it like the way your shoulders droop a little bit and the way that you talk about what you're doing when I ask you how it's going. This happens every time. Because I come at their work different from what they've seen with other editing professionals, you subconsciously think that I have a secret shortcut to this work. Again, you can't shortcut the creative process, but you can reframe it. And that is my superpower as your editor. When you can reframe how you see the hard part, you change your experience with it. I know that writing and revisions can feel hard. I know that it's frustrating when that first draft energy fades and you're left with the mess of what you created in first draft energy. Writing a memoir, revising your memoir, editing it is hard work. It does take dedication. You do need to show up for it. But hard work does not have to mean that you are miserable while you are doing it. One of the creative things that I like to do is sew. I used to sew a lot of my own clothes, and it was a skill set that I taught myself as an adult. And it is very challenging. It's very hard work. There are a lot of steps. There's a massive learning curve. And when I started, and even now when I go into a new sewing project, it is challenging. It is difficult. It's hard work to create something that is wearable from a bolt of fabric and paper patterns. But it's fun for me. It's so much fun. And so the challenge feels exciting to me. I like to dig into it. I like to think through how I'm going to figure out this puzzle piece. Sewing really is just a big 3D puzzle, basically. The challenge is really fun for me. So it doesn't feel hard. Or it doesn't feel frustrating even when it is difficult. What happens when I'm sewing and I do start to get frustrated, when it stops being fun for me, that is when I make mistakes. That is when I have to go back and redo things over and over. When it stops being fun, that's when my work starts suffering for it. And the same is true for your writing. I want you to think of any other creative thing or not, anything else in your life that has been hard to learn, that's been hard work. And I want you to think about an instance where you've had fun while you're doing something difficult, whether that's learning something new in school or a house project or some other kind of creative thing, or maybe you're doing yard work, but you're with your siblings. And so it ends up kind of being fun, or exercise can count. And so just want to think of something that's not writing that has been difficult, that has required you to show up and learn and be challenged, but you have fun with it. You get to do that with your writing as well. So I'm here to teach you that you can change how you walk yourself through the hard part of writing. It doesn't mean that it has to be miserable, that you have to be miserable. Even when something is difficult, it can still be fun for you to experience and work through. And ironically enough, the more fun you have, one, the less overwhelm and discouragement you feel, and the better your work product is. I sew better when I have a fun time with it. Even when it's hard work, even when it's challenging, even when I make mistakes and have to do things over. My writing is better when I can have fun going into the process. When I can have fun playing with my words and thinking about different ways to show something, it can be fun. And I write better when I'm having fun. You produce better work when you have fun with what you're doing. The first way to kind of shift from this overwhelm state, because asking you to go from overwhelm all the way up to I'm having so much fun, that is a big ask and it's going to give you massive whiplash. So I want you to start with curiosity. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I want you to start to get curious. You let go of control when you can start to lead with curiosity. So you can ask yourself, what am I trying to say here? What is this chapter trying to do? What does my reader need? What are 3 different ways that I could write this scene? What would happen if I took this part out or added this idea in? Get curious. Ask yourself questions. If you try to control the process or your writing, you will suck the fun out of the experience and you will dry up your creativity. You need to lean into curiosity. That is what is going to start to flip the switch from the overwhelm and get you kind of into some fun. The hard part of writing, it gets to be the good part. It gets to be the fun part. This is the part where your creativity reaches new levels and breaks through in ways that you never could have conceived at the beginning with first draft energy. You need first draft energy. That's not where the good part is. The good part is where you lean into the challenge and figure out a way to work with it. You let your creativity grow. The next time you hit this wall, you will know it because you won't want to show up. You'll tell yourself that you'll get to it tomorrow, or you'll spend 2 hours rewriting, but you won't feel like you're actually getting anywhere. Whatever your wall is, and you know what it is, even if I haven't named it, you know what it is for you. I want you to pause and remember that this is what happens when you are ready to level up your writing. There's a reason that first draft energy is not sustainable. It's because it doesn't produce your best work. It gets stuff on the page, but when it starts to feel hard, that's when you're ready to grow. This is what happens when it is time to kick your creativity into gear and actually be creative. The hard part does not have to be miserable. It gets to be fun. I want you to sit down with your draft and ask yourself, what one small thing can I do with this memoir today that I will love? How can I make this fun for even 20 minutes? Like, that's what I want you to do after this episode. I just want you to ask yourself, what is one small thing that I can do that will make this fun and that will make something that I love? If you are having a difficult time coming up with a way to make your writing fun again, then I have good news. I've created what I'm calling the Chapter 1 Jumpstart Challenge. This is a live 5-day experience where I will walk you through revising just one chapter of your memoir. We're going to start small because I want you to get that win, get that jolt of like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. This is fun. I want you to come out of these 5 days with a chapter that you are obsessed with. Every day in this challenge, I will be posting a short video training for you that will walk you through this reframe that I've been talking about in this episode. I break it down into actionable things that you get to do every day. My favorite part of being a memoir coach and editor is to see that moment when writing is fun again for you, to see when everything clicks into place and you get clarity. Clarity is the result of creativity, and that is what we get to do in the Jumpstart Challenge together. This is what I'm creating for you, is that moment of, oh, you know what? I do want to keep doing this. I love doing this. So while there isn't a shortcut to memoir, the Jumpstart Challenge will make you feel like there is, because you will learn to see your memoir in a whole new way. Details that you need to know. We kick off the challenge on Monday, November 17th inside of a private community, and we will wrap up on Friday, November 21st. The cost of this challenge is only $47. I want this to be an easy yes for you because I know that you are drowning in your draft, feeling crushed under the weight of everything that you've already written, and you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to make sense of it. This is where I see writers. This is where they come to me. And I want to give you a win that feels good, that feels fun. If you want my eyes directly on your work, I know a lot of you kind of done DIYing and you want specific feedback. I do have a VIP option with the challenge where I will read through your revised chapter and I will give you personal feedback. You know that you miss that creative energy. You miss what it feels like to have fun with your memoir. So just like you need to jumpstart your car battery sometimes, I'm here to help you jumpstart your creativity. And that's what we get to do in the Jumpstart Challenge. If you are not sure whether you are ready for the Jumpstart Challenge, go watch my free training, 3 Hidden Reasons You Haven't Finished Your Memoir. This is going to open your eyes to the blocks that you're experiencing as a writer and give you more of these writing reframes that we've explored today. This is going to change the creative game for you. The links to everything you need are in the show notes, to the Jumpstart Challenge, to enroll in that, and to the free training. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love to talk writers through this work. I love to coach you through these blocks and to get you to a place where not only is writing fun again, but you're actually making progress. You're actually revising in a way that feels really, really good to you, where you are obsessed with what it is that you're writing. I will see you next time. I really hope that I see you inside of the Chapter 1 Jumpstart Challenge, and we'll talk later.
You've just listened to an episode of the Memoir Method podcast. The Memoir Method podcast is presented by Charlotte Writes. If you liked what you heard, the best way to support the show is to subscribe through your preferred podcast player. And if you're feeling especially inspired, I'd love it if you left a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Leaving a review really does help other readers and writers like yourself find the show. If you want to continue the conversation, you can find me on my website at charlottewrites.co or on Instagram at charlottejanewrites. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. And remember that you have a story that matters.